purpose in your life, you don't have momentum. You don't have anything driving you forward, anything pulling you out of bed every single day.
Come on in, let's talk about it. Come on in, let's talk about it. Make it make sense.
You know that nagging feeling, right? Like there's this invisible clock ticking.
Yeah, the societal timeline thing.
Exactly. This idea you need the career, the family, all by a certain date. And if you say want to change careers in your 30s,
It feels too late.
blah,
Or
yeah.
not being married by 38 is somehow wrong.
Right. It's amazing how much that unspoken stuff, those expectations, can really weigh on you, shape your choices, even how you feel about yourself.
It really is fascinating how these scripts get so embedded, isn't it? They're almost
Right.
subconscious, telling us what's possible, what success looks like.
Like we're all just sort of drifting along in the same current of assumptions.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's really what we're digging into today. We've got some really compelling reflections here. People who've properly questioned those timelines. They've navigated big life changes, career shifts, and kind of figured out fulfillment on their own terms. It's a real mix of stories.
And if you boil it down, what we're really looking at is how to untangle ourselves from those outside definitions of success and tap into something more authentic, something driven from within. It's about, writing your own rules.
Spot on. And that's what we want to explore for you, the listener. Maybe you're at a crossroads or just feeling that pressure.
Or maybe just curious about living more intentionally.
Right. This deep dive is for you. We're aiming to pull out the key insights, those aha moments, stuff that can help you filter out all that external noise and connect with your own internal compass.
Because it really raises a big question, doesn't it? In this world full of shoulds, how do you actually honor your own path? A path that genuinely resonates with your own values. That's the ground we're covering.
So our mission today is pretty straightforward. Let's explore how people navigated those big shifts, overcame hurdles, and really zeroed in on what gives their lives meaning.
And think of it as maybe a shortcut to understanding some really powerful, often hard-won life lessons.
Yeah, exactly. And what's interesting is these lessons, they don't usually come from textbooks, do they?
No, not usually. They often come from, real life, from actually challenging those expectations we started talking about, sometimes even dismantling them.
Absolutely. Okay, so let's tackle that first point then head on. The noise of expectations. The source material mentions someone growing up with this really intense pressure.
Yes. The doctor, lawyer, or failure scenario.
Right. Can you imagine how, restrictive that must feel?
It just highlights how powerful that early conditioning is. Family means well, but those messages can create such a narrow view of what a good life is.
Yeah, it makes it hard to see anything else.
Definitely.
And this person, they actually dropped out of that path, became a monk for 3 years.
Which is about as far from doctor or lawyer as you can get.
Totally. Talk about a radical shift. It completely flipped the script on conventional career paths.
Now think about the courage that takes. Stepping so far outside the norm, probably faced a lot of skepticism, maybe misunderstanding. But that very experience, that detour, it ended up being fundamental for them. It really suggests that sometimes the biggest growth comes from taking those unexpected paths.
It really makes you think, doesn't it?
Yeah.
About the noise in our own lives. What unspoken rules or expectations are maybe influencing us.
Maybe holding us back from exploring things.
Yeah.
And that's something for listeners to really consider personally. Are there pressures, family, friends, social media, even your own inner critic shaping your choices right now?
Limiting what you think is possible.
Exactly. Just identifying that noise is the first step. Then you can start filtering it out, making choices that feel right for you.
Okay, so moving on slightly, the source also makes this really interesting distinction. It's not just about following passions, but actively investing in them. What's the difference there?
Yeah, this is a subtle but really important point. Following can feel a bit passive, like you're just waiting for something to happen.
Right, waiting for the perfect opportunity to land in your lap.
Exactly. Whereas investing, that's active. It means, putting in the work, learning, finding mentors, practicing, really dedicating yourself to getting better.
So it's not just, I like photography. It's actually taking courses, practicing every day, seeking feedback, maybe joining a club.
Precisely. And the idea is when you really invest like that, when you strive for mastery in something you care about, you don't just grow personally, But opportunities often start appearing, things you wouldn't have seen otherwise. You become so good, so engaged, that the world kind of notices.
Ah, okay. So instead of just wishing for that dream job,
The question becomes, what are you actively doing to build the skills, the expertise, the connections to make it happen?
are you just hoping or are you taking deliberate action? Upskilling, networking, getting experience.
That's it. Intentional action. That's the difference.
Then the material shifts to something pretty intense in near-death experience.
Right.
And it triggered this profound reflection. The speaker asked, did I live? Did I love? Did I matter? Wow.
Yeah. Facing mortality, or even just a major crisis. It has this incredible way of stripping away the superficial stuff, doesn't it?
Definitely.
It forces you to confront the really big questions about your life, your priorities, this idea of mortality motivation. It's powerful. Knowing time is limited can be a huge catalyst for change, for reevaluating everything.
It's like all the things that seem so important before maybe chasing money or status.
Suddenly seem less critical when you look at the big picture, the finite picture.
Yeah. Provides a stark clarity.
Exactly. And while, hopefully listeners don't need a crisis like that,
All right, hopefully not.
it does prompt us to think, what moments in our lives, maybe less dramatic ones, have made us step back and rethink what truly matters? Have there been turning points?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
And it leads nicely into the next idea, which is about shifting focus from the what to the why.
Ah, yes. Critical distinction.
The speaker realized chasing wealth felt hollow because they hadn't really asked why they wanted it.
And that just highlights how important self-inquiry is. It's so easy to get caught up chasing external goals, the job title, the salary, without digging into the motivation. Why do I want this? Asking why connects your actions back to your core values, your purpose.
So if you're aiming for that promotion, it's not just, how do I get it?
That's also why this promotion. How does it really fit with who I am and what I want to contribute?
Is it about external validation, what other people think?
Or is it intrinsically driven, genuinely aligned with your values, your desire to make a difference? Understanding that,
Yeah.
it's key for long-term fulfillment.
And speaking of contribution, there's that great example of the shift with Quest Nutrition.
Right, moving beyond just personal wealth.
The drive wasn't just get rich, it was tackling a real problem, people's unhealthy relationship with food.
It's a perfect illustration of that shift from self-focused goals to contributive goals. When you focus on helping others, solving meaningful problems.
It unlocks something deeper.
A much deeper, more sustainable sense of purpose and satisfaction, I think. You're using your skills for something bigger than just yourself, creating real value.
So for the listener, what problems out there, big or small, genuinely get under your skin? Where could your skills, your passions make a contribution?
That's a really potent question to sit with. Where do you see a chance, even a small one, to make things better? Aligning with that desire to contribute can be incredibly energizing.
Then there's this really empowering belief mentioned about human potential being kind of limitless.
The idea that it's not about who you are today.
It's about who you want to become and the price you're willing to pay. Yeah, that one.
It's all about embracing a growth mindset, isn't it? Rejecting the idea that we're fixed, that our abilities are set in stone.
Right.
It emphasizes our capacity to learn, to change, to transform. But it also highlights that crucial element, the willingness to put in the effort, to persevere.
It's like saying your past doesn't have to define your future. It's about the vision you hold for yourself.
And the commitment you make to reaching it through consistent action.
So the question becomes, what kind of person do you aspire to be? And what are you really willing to invest time, energy, stepping out of your comfort zone to get there?
That willingness to pay the price, as the source puts it, that's often the deciding factor between just wishing and actually changing, making sure your daily actions line up with that bigger goal.
There's that story, too, about the school teacher that really stuck with me.
The one who initially wanted to expel the disruptive kids.
Yeah, but then found this higher purpose in helping them, becoming the key to every door for them. That's quite a transformation.
It's such a powerful example of how purpose can completely reframe challenges when her motivation shifted.
From just managing behavior to actually empowering these kids.
It sparked creativity, resilience, led to a totally different outcome, a much better one.
It really shows how a change in mindset fueled by purpose can unlock solutions you didn't see before. Makes you think. How could a stronger sense of purpose change your approach to the challenges you're facing right now?
Exactly. Are you seeing roadblocks? Or could clarifying your why help you see them as opportunities for growth, for creative thinking.
Then there's that insightful story about the daughter after the breakup,
Ah, yes. The shift in perspective.
realizing what he thinks doesn't matter. That shift from needing external validation to finding internal worth.
Is a perfect example of internal versus external locus of control. If your self-worth depends on what others think or achieve.
You're kind of vulnerable, right, to their opinions, to circumstances.
Totally. But when you clarify your own values, define your purpose from the inside, you build resilience, you reclaim your power.
It's about defining your own life state, as they called it, so your happiness isn't dependent on things you can't control.
So where are you getting your sense of worth from right now? Is it mainly internal, or are you maybe leaning too heavily on external validation?
That's a really crucial thing to reflect on for building that inner strength, that stability.
Definitely. When your sense of self is rooted in your own values and purpose, you can navigate life's ups and downs much more effectively.
And what's really fascinating is that her career apparently took off after this personal breakthrough.
Yeah, the ripple effect.
It just shows how finding meaning, finding strength in one area can positively impact other parts of your life, unexpectedly sometimes.
It really highlights how interconnected everything is when you're living more authentically in one area.
It creates momentum elsewhere. Relationships, work, personal growth.
Exactly. We're whole beings. Positive change in one area can definitely ripple outwards.
Makes you wonder, if you gained more clarity in just one part of your life, what positive ripples might start appearing elsewhere?
Yeah, think about that synergy. Tackling a lack of purpose in one spot could have surprisingly broad benefits, creating a positive cycle.
The source also throws out this idea that we're all basically purpose-seeking mechanisms,
Innately driven to find meaning.
and that both good and bad experiences can actually give us clues about our purpose. I found that really profound.
It suggests life isn't just random events. Our experiences, the highs and the lows, are like data points.
Okay.
They offer insights into what truly matters to us deep down. If we reflect on them, we can start seeing themes, identifying values, getting a sense of direction.
So even the tough times, the stuff we'd rather forget.
Could actually be guiding us towards our purpose if we look closely at the lessons learned. What patterns or values emerge when you look back at your life, both the good and the bad?
Paying attention to what really engages you, what frustrates you, what you feel compelled to act on.
All potential clues pointing towards that underlying purpose.
And then, wow, that story about Petty Officer Mike Mansour.
Incredibly moving. That's selfless sacrifice for his team.
It just powerfully illustrates that idea of committing to something bigger than yourself, doesn't it?
It's an extreme example, of course, but it captures the essence of living a team life, being truly committed to shared goals, to others' well-being.
Prioritizing the group over yourself, the courage that comes from that kind of commitment.
It makes you think about your own teams, right? Family, work colleagues, community. How strong is that sense of shared purpose and support?
Yeah. Are you fully invested? Are you actively supporting others in those groups?
It's worth reflecting on how we show up in those team contexts.
So finally, it feels like the source distills all this down into 4 kind of undeniable truths. Things learned through tough times.
Right. Embracing fear.
Forging self-confidence daily.
Living with purpose.
And knowing you don't succeed alone.
Yeah.
The team aspect again.
Yeah. You can almost see them as cornerstones for a resilient, fulfilling life.
Yeah.
Acknowledging fear, not being stopped by it, building self-belief through action, being guided by purpose, nurturing connection.
They all seem interconnected.
Deeply.
Yeah.
They all support each other in navigating life's complexities.
It's almost like a practical checklist, isn't it? How consciously are you cultivating these things? Are you facing fears? Building confidence? Is your purpose clear? Are you nurturing your connections?
And they're not destinations, right? They're ongoing practices.
Yeah.
They need constant attention, intentional effort. Checking in on those 4 truths can be like using a compass. Keep you aligned.
Okay, so if we try to wrap this up, the core message seems to be about breaking free from those limiting beliefs we talked about at the start.
Getting past the external shoulds.
And then actively investing energy in your real passions, connecting with a deeper personal sense of purpose.
And really valuing those human connections, that team life.
Those seem to be the fundamental ingredients for a life that actually feels meaningful.
That sums it up well. It's about shifting from a life dictated by the outside world to one guided by your internal compass, your values, your purpose.
So for you, listening, we really hope this has sparked some thinking. What noise are you ready to tune out? What passions feel worth investing in?
What are those deeper why questions you need to start asking? What does purpose mean for you right now?
And how can you actively strengthen those connections, build that shared purpose with the people around you? These are the questions that can really guide you towards a more authentic, more intentional life.
So thinking about that power of mortality motivation, that drive for purpose, maybe ask yourself, what's one small, doable step you could take, even today, to live more intentionally, as if this moment really counts?
Or, flipping it slightly, thinking about how experiences teach us. What might your toughest challenges actually be revealing about your unique purpose? What are they trying to tell you?
Definitely some powerful food for thought there. Thanks for diving deep with us on this.
Pleasure exploring it.
We look forward to exploring more big ideas with you next time.